Hey guys, AJ here, back with another one. So today we're going to talk about John Wesley Elliot, aka Bald Beaver Hunter, with like the best name for a pedo ever. You know, the guy's an idiot, so obviously not the smartest name. Can you imagine? You're in court, and the judge or the court reporter goes, and now up to the stand is Mr. Bald Beaver Hunter. I think that everyone would kind of look over with their eyebrow raised a little bit there, and he's just has to sit there and be like, "Yeah, that's me," you know. So this particular uh, offender, he stood out to me most because I didn't know that people posted the police interrogations until I would say about 4 years ago. So this is the first interrogation that I actually heard. And he was in the Bowling Green, Kentucky sting. So I remember being amazed at how much extra material that there was. Because on the show, they actually showed clips from the interrogations, but it was like discovering TCAP all over again. And even now, like, I didn't realize that the chat logs were on Perimeter Justice's website. So I'm literally going back through this. It's like being introduced to TCAP all over again. So for everyone that put the interrogations and everything online, thanks for that, because it got me back into this. And then for whoever still runs the Perverted Justice website, thanks for cataloging all of these and still having these on there. So like I said, I getting into the chat is still new for me, and it's just crazy how nasty some of these chats are. So I think some of the more seasoned TCAP, like community people, are kind of it doesn't even bother them. But to me, it's just gross. But you know, sort of fans of the show, we should be over it by now. So you can see that it's 9:17 p.m. and he says, you know, hi. Far Western Kentucky here, and the decoy is dreaming of fairies. Says, "Hiya's," and the second thing that she says, 12 years old, KY female, and then he just goes, "Cool, KEWL, 39 male here, bored," misspelled, and she says, "Cool," back. And what's crazy is no one really does that anymore. I remember like back in the AOL "You've Got Mail" days, we used to do, "Oh, we're gonna spell cool KEWL." You know, and this is in 2007, so I guess that still happened, but I don't see anyone do that anymore. So I guess I'm like dating myself. So that shows how old I am. But anyways, so he's just not much going on at all. So what are you up to on a Friday night, girl? And she says, "Being bored." "Yeah, I know how that is." And Dreaming of Fairy says, "What's up?" Uh, ELO, I'm not sure that I know what that means. I haven't been like a chat room person since like the late 90s or the early 2000s, so I forget. He says, "Sorry, I is here now. LOL." Oh, he must have been gone for a while. So, phone call got me. Dream of Fairy says, "Ah, KK." He says, "Yeah, never hardly is anything to do around here." Now imagine he's supposed to be talking to like a 12-year old, and a 12-year-old was supposed to be saying, "You don't have hobbies?" And I mean, what 12-year-old is going to ask you, "So, like, what do you do for fun?" I don't know. So, this guy's dumb, and obviously, because he ended up on the show, but I think that we really need to understand how irrational that a lot of these guys' thinking is, because we might not be able to understand like what they were thinking because we're looking at the decoy, because we know that it's an adult on the other end. And we would think that we would know that a 12-year-old wouldn't say, "Hey, do you have any hobbies?" But these guys are dumb. So, and we can't put our logical hat on and try and understand a pedo like this, you know? So, he says, "LOL, well, kind of one. I can talk about is computers. The other is secret, SEACRET. Okay. She says, and she spells secret right. Secret why? Well, let me put it this way. It's offensive to some people on here. LOL. Dream of Fairy says, I don't offend easily. That's silly. He says, LOL. How about yourself? You have hobbies. She says, yeah, love to read, love to draw and read. He says, cool. You must draw fairies. She says, yep, how'd you know? Just by your name on here. LOL. And then he kind of jumps ahead and says, you're cute. And she says, how you know? Just by your answer, I can tell. So they kind of have a little bit of banter back and forth. And then they bring up talking about France. She says, just think, if you could do magic, like what is the first thing you would do? And she says, wave my wand and be in France. He says, cool, France. She says, yeah. He goes, what would you do in France? She says, visit my BFF. She moved there. Oh, okay. And the decoy says, I miss her really bad. Sorry, girl, I bet you do. She says, you got a BFF? He goes, nope, sure don't. So he's like basically saying, I don't have any friends, and that's supposed to ingratiate himself to her. Okay, but anyways, she says, I thought everyone did. He goes, not everyone, LOL. And she says, I won't either if I never find out where in France she went. So they go a little bit farther down, and she goes, what do you do? School? He says, work in a factory making plastic parts. He means plastic parts for motors. Dream of girls, LOL. So he jumps, like, how do you connect those two dots? I work at a factory making plastic parts and dream of girls, So, then she talks about Harry Potter. So you can say that this was like 2007, the early 2000s mid, when Harry Potter was like a big deal. It still is, but the books were still coming out. So that's something, yes, that a 12-year-old would say. So here we go. This is where it gets off the rails. She says, what stuff you like to do besides talk on here? He says, take pictures of myself with my digital camera, watch movies. Okay. Oh, way, cool. You got pics? He says, yes, but I can't show you some of them. And she says, why not? He says, well, nude shots, that's my other hobby. You can say that's why I didn't want to say. And she says, your other hobby is taking pics of yourself nude? Yes, but I'm doing stuff nude, Playing. What you mean by playing? Playing with myself. And she says, huh? I don't have a girl, so that's what I do to get by. Masturbate, embarrassed here. LOL. She says, well, not as embarrassed as me because I don't know what word means, should I? So she's feigning ignorance, and he's kind of falling straight into her trap. And he says, I guess not, girl. I'm sorry. You're probably not at that age where you think of stuff like that. So she totally just ropes him in. And now he's going to, give his, I don't know. I want to say layman's explanation, but just total boneheaded, moronic explanation here. She says, what does it mean? Well, I play with myself to a point where I tickle, TICKEL. It's so bad it wiggles, WIGGELS, and then squirts out this juice that is not pee. Oh, man. John Wesley Elliot and his anatomy lessons, right? Okay, so anyways, it keeps going from here, and he gets into the "you live alone with your parents" type of thing, and they talk about cars for a little bit, and Harry Potter, and it basically goes back in where it's like he always tries to keep things a little bit just the banter, and then he has his feelers, his little pedo feelers out there, and to talk about cars, and the decoy just kind of keeps him going. But every time that it turns to sex, then obviously he's the one initiating. So they actually talk for quite a while, and let's jump into the video here with Chris Hanson, good old bald beaver. Here's your 15 minutes of fame.
Hey, come on in.
Walking into our undercover house is 39-year-old John.
Oh, and props to Stacy Babs for putting this video up. Thank you very much.
Elliot, a factory worker for a window company. He's driven 2.5 hours to meet a girl who told him she was 12 and
2.5 hours. Can you imagine that? 2.5 hours.
Home alone. It's after 1 o'clock in the morning.
I was just watching some TV. Come sit down.
All right.
We've hired this 19-year-old actress, Casey, to be our decoy. Elliot seems to think she's the 12-year-old virgin he's been chatting with online for the past month. Using a screen name so disturbing we can't broadcast it, he tells the decoy about his fantasy of being with a young girl.
You were asking me about what I was daydreaming about. Well, that's it. You nude and me licking you.
He continues to chat with the decoy about his fixation with giving her oral sex and adds that as he's talking to her, he's nude and thinking bad thoughts.
I just never thought I would openly tell a young girl that.
And you gotta love these, the guy who they hired to actually read the narrator here. It's hilarious.
Is okay with me.
But as soon as I saw your pic, I was like, man, I'd give anything I could to have one night with her.
At one point, he tells her his hobby is taking pictures of himself masturbating and then sends the decoy some of those shots. And he doesn't stop there.
Oh, yeah, those are some, glamour pics. Or does anyone remember glamour shots in the mall where you used to go and you used to get pictures or whatever, or have like your yearbook pictures done? This is Bald Beaver Hunter's glamour shots right here.
Later, he sends her child pornography, a photo of a girl engaging in a sex act.
That girl is young.
How young?
I think 14.
Wow.
Keep digging that hole, man. And when you get to China, get me some chow mein.
At one point, he seems to fear she might be a policewoman. But as you can see, that doesn't stop him from showing up.
Can you keep acting like I've got to be so bad?
Yeah, it's the first door on the left.
Now let's stop right here. I've watched this like 20,000 times. I mean, not literally, but I've watched this so many times. And it never occurred to me until recently when I went on the Reddit, props to everyone on Reddit who's TCAP also, that she let him go to the bathroom. Now, I've never seen any other case where they've let the guy go to the bathroom. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about reality TV. They cannot put cameras in the bathroom. Because if you look at like Intervention, The Real World, any type of reality shows, they cannot legally film you in the bathroom. So you can go to the bathroom and avoid the cameras. Now, you can still have your microphone on and they can get what you're saying, yes, but they cannot film you in the bathroom. So think about the security risk that this was. He could have had a gun or a knife or something on him, or I don't know what, but this is a blind spot. And you can just think that they were going completely crazy in the booth or in the back when she probably did this on accident, right? Because this is probably her second or third, pedo. But what I'm saying is, like, she was probably still in the whole, this is a person and not I'm playing a role and I have to deal with them a specific way. But that didn't really occur to me until recently.
I let him go to the bathroom, and when he came out, he seemed a little more relaxed. He was a little more comfortable that, okay, she let me go to the bathroom. We're going to be here a while.
And you still would think that this bozo he would think that something's up, because this big living room, there's only 2 chairs facing each other. You know what I mean? But yeah, not so smart.
Gosh, you're pretty.
Thank you. So what are your plans, or what are you thinking?
Kissing you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? How we talked on the internet.
He reminds you of that vulture from Looney Tunes. You remember him? The loop, the loop, the loop, dial loop, dial loop guy. You remember him?
As the decoy presses him, he stops smiling and seems to get suspicious. She asks him about that photo he sent her of the girl receiving oral sex.
Oh, that picture you sent me with the 14-year-old girl. Was she really 14?
I don't know. I just found it off of a
He senses something's rotten in Denmark.
guy off the internet when we were talking.
Is that like what you wanted to do?
That's what I want to do, but I just, there's something in me that just, it's not right, you know? And it's really bothering me.
Uh-huh.
You seem pretty
Chris Hanson, son, here it comes.
confident on the internet in terms of what you wanted to do.
Now, I said in my previous video that the genius of Chris Hanson. So this guy is sitting down, he's sitting back, he's relaxed, and Chris Hanson comes out with papers in his hand. Dude doesn't know what the papers are. Chris is wearing like a dark colored suit and he's standing over him. So dude is obviously scared shitless. Look at the look on his face. And I think it was TCAP recap also said the first thing that you think he would look for is like a badge or something. So, but then Chris is wearing a suit. So is he FBI? Is he a cop? Is he her dad? So like it makes it even worse because his little like 12 IQ is trying to figure out stuff. And the more that he searches for answers, the more questions he has.
What was your plan tonight?
Actually, I wasn't really going to be doing anything because I was worried of getting too scared,
And then Chris sits down in front of him.
nervous about it.
Now, why were you getting so scared and nervous?
Well, I just knew it wasn't right.
But that's not how you made it sound online.
You know?
And right when he took off the binder clip and started flipping those pages, you dude does a little glasses tip because he knows he's fucked.
And what about the photos he sent of himself
And he shows him his glamour shots.
masturbating? Why'd you do it?
Well, just everything in my life is just, it's all screwed up. I got a bad job. My marriage is not good.
Did you bring any
You're a dumbass.
condoms?
No, I wasn't going to do anything like that.
Yeah, what were you going to do?
It was just oral.
Your Honor, I was just going to do oral, all right? Please don't send me to jail.
Just oral.
Well, I think it was that bad on oral.
She told you she was 12 years old.
Yeah.
And you came over here planning to have oral sex with a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I mean, yeah, I did.
When I ask him about his obscene screen name,
believe that
he starts to laugh.
You think this is funny?
No,
It's a big joke.
That's not going to help you out in court.
No,
Coming over here to have sex with a 12-year-old girl, and this big old joke to you.
No. What I'm getting at is, this is the very first time this has ever happened. I've never met.
It's the first time you
Uh-huh.
got caught, maybe.
No.
Right. So what made you
Nothing.
decide all of a sudden to do it now? I mean, you've been chatting with this girl for a month.
A month. Can you imagine? Props to these decoys. They should get like an Iron Man award. You know what I'm saying? Like a marathon award for having to put up with pedo bullshit for as long as they have.
I've had that fantasy in the back of my head.
Fantasy.
About being with a young girl.
A young girl, yeah.
Keep digging, buddy.
What do you think should happen to you?
Sent to an island.
Sent to an island.
Exile.
Exile an island. You still think this is
You think it's funny?
No.
Now, I mean, come on. He's probably thinking has like that nervous thing that some people have where they get nervous and they laugh or whatever. Fine, but I mean, dude, you're not helping yourself at all.
I don't know why you're asking
you're-
me
you're-
stuff like this. I mean,
Well, why do you think?
Why are you answering it then?
I'm curious about all this.
I can tell you're a therapist. I know. I mean, not just.
You think I'm a therapist?
Yeah, by the way, you're.
It's because of your snazzy suit, Chris, and that snazzy hair. You have to be a therapist. It's because you sit with your legs crossed like Captain Picard from Star Trek.
You think that you came over here to meet this girl and magically a therapist sat down to help you through your problem?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, do you ever watch television?
No, sir.
Well, there's something I got to tell you. I'm Chris Hanson, and I work for a show called Dateline NBC.
Okay.
And we're doing a story on adults who try to meet young teenagers online for sex.
Okay.
It's called...
And props to him, he didn't even flinch when those cameras were out, so maybe he's just in shock or whatever, but like he didn't even mess with his glasses or anything, so yeah.
Catch a Predator. So if there's anything else that you'd like to tell us about your situation, we'd like to hear it.
I love my wife, and I know it doesn't look like it. I need to see a psychiatrist because of the way everything's going through my life.
All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and I hope you get that help.
As he gets up to leave and makes the long walk
At least he got to use the bathroom, right? Because where he's going.
to the door, officers are in position, ready to arrest him.
Sheriff's office, hands up! Hands up! Hands out! Hands out!
So I did notice that someone did say on the on a Reddit thread that it did seem like they were a bit more rough in the southern stings like Kentucky and Florida, but you know, people have guns down there, so they really can't take any chances if they have any weapons or any of that. So I give them the old Stone Cold Stunner too, you know.
He's taken away in an unmarked car and brought to a police station where he's booked, photographed,
Thank you, sir.
Right here to what?
and brought in for questioning.
Had an interesting night, haven't you?
So we'll stop this here, and we're gonna get into the interrogation next. But that lady is my favorite interrogator of all time. It's because I had a teacher in middle school that looked and sounded just like this woman, and it's hilarious to hear her voice, like reading off these chat logs to these morons who are just. And, you know, as a guy, you know, it has to be especially emasculating to hear a woman reading this chat log anyways, right? Because you're already caught, you're already a dumbass. But now you're in this room and this woman with this, like, you know, like a language arts teacher voice is like, did you say that you wanted to, you know, lick her genitals? And he's sitting there like, yes, I did, you know. So, but, so let's get to kind of what it looks like he actually was convicted. And, so this is another thing that I noticed is that people in the South got a lot longer sentences. And then too, they had a lot more serious charges. So he got 7 years in prison and is on the sex offender registration for 20 years. So, yep. Well, all right, you guys, that's it for today. We'll get into the interrogation next. And this is AJ. I'm out of here. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Like and subscribe, and I appreciate all of you guys.